Happy Monday, December 30th. Let's do the weekly all signs horoscope. We're going from December 30th to January 5th. And I just want to say 2025 is going to be a bumpy ride. Guys, the last time I said this was right before lockdowns. Last time I said this was right before lockdowns. I predicted shit was going to hit the fan. I predicted something big was going to change. And I'm saying it again for 2025. Now, I'm not saying we're repeating history in that sense, but I am saying that there is a lot of changes that are going to go down in 2025. And who you be right now, how your life is going right now, the direction you're going right now, likely isn't going to be how things are at the end of 2025. So it's time to pull your big girl panties up, put on a really fucking supportive bra, and get ready to make some big changes in your life in 2025. And we're setting the stage right now. Now, I will say today, I'm going to probably be talking fast, going fast today. It's just been a morning on the farm. First of all, this conditioner, I like this conditioner, but it makes my hair too soft and light. And now there's no volume or anything to it. So, that's an issue. And then the chickens in my house are driving me insane today. So it's just been, I'm just behind. I probably should have taken my ADHD meds earlier this morning. So let's dive right in as I have a dog hair in my eye. Of course, that's just going to be how today goes, guys. Might do this through one eye. We'll see how it goes. I have two dogs and their hair is all over my shirt as well. So 2025, I want to start off with looking at the moon. Now, again, if you're used to being around here, we don't typically look at more of the mundane, if you will, points or what a lot of other people look at. But if we're going back to yesterday, the 29th, and looking at the moon, we had a massive shift into when we're looking at the moon, the massive shift that we're having is a moon in Capricorn. This is like buckle up, bitches. It's, mean girls, get in. We're going shopping. The moon is off to the races. 3, 2, 1, go. Things are about to get real. This also, when we're looking at the moon, is quincunx Uranus. Life might feel a little tense right now. Maybe you also notice that things are changing. Last night, I had the weirdest dreams. My partner had the weirdest dreams as well. He woke up and he was like, I had these crazy dreams all night. I did as well. Couldn't sleep. This is the energy that we're really seeing come to life right now with the moon moving over into Capricorn. Buckle up, bitches. Things are about to get real. Quincunx Uranus. There is a little bit of tension. What you want to do and what you want to focus on right now is avoiding like ego-led behaviors, right? Now, I'm going to be kicking your ass before I let you go as well on don't shit the bed, but there's a big difference between avoiding ego-led behaviors of like, oh, I should do this or I need to do this so that I can get that, and following your truth that has been there all along and you're just shitting the bed on, that you're not actually willing to accept. So we're going to have some come to Jesus moments that I'm going to ease you into as we go. Hello, good morning. We're going to be flying through this. I'm running behind. So we're going to just be like, I'm going to be hitting you guys hard with these truths and then just moving on to the next one. So you might need, a tea and a walk after this. The moon as well. What we're seeing is really a lot of energy with Pluto this week. Square Pluto as we start off the week. And then wait till you see what we're going to see later on this week as we go into January 1st with the moon and Pluto. But this is significant. I love Pluto for that dark goddess energy. I love Pluto for like the destroyer coming in and like ripping out all that doesn't serve. That's another, when we're looking at, square Neptune is Monday. What we're going into is Pluto later, but square Neptune with the energy of Pluto, with the energy of the moon in Capricorn this week, and how those three figures are moving through the week together. You might feel out of sorts. Again, we saw that quincunx Uranus might be a little tense right now. Shit might feel like, it's quicksand or, you just start to grasp and it falls through your fingers. I like to say, and what are you going to do with this? Is it the same thing of, I feel out of sorts, or I feel a little tired, or I feel a little tense. So like, I'm just going to stay where I am, and I'm just going to continue to wait for all the pieces to come together and for everything to be perfect and for me to know everything before I take action? Or is it like, maybe I actually feel out of sorts and maybe I actually feel tense right now because I've known the direction I'm supposed to go for the last like 6 months, 6 years, and I keep shitting the bed. Like, one thing I will say is I can't, and I've said this before, and someone was like, "You're so mean." I'm like, well, it's true. I can't wrap my head around. I've been a counselor, quite literally a counselor in the mental health field, self-development field for a very long time. And I can't wrap my head around the spinning the drain around, like, I say I want to take action. I say I want to change my life. So even, people that are hiring the people and taking the courses and doing all the things, but they're continuing to spin the drain of like, but I need more information, but I need more this, I need more that, things need to be perfect. And they spin the drain forever. When you're in that mindset of I need more of something before I can take action, you actually never get out of that, because that's your core identity. Your core identity is ultimately, I need X, Y, and Z, or I need all the information and it has to be perfect before I take action. And that's just not real. That's not life. And a lot of people, maybe you, maybe someone that's watching this, the reason why you're not actually taking action is you're afraid of looking stupid. You're going to look stupid. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to do things and like, shit, 6 months later, it's not really in alignment, or that's not really what I believe anymore. If you want to build a business online, if you want to be a public figure, if you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a healer, if you want to be like visible in some respect, you got to realize you're going to look stupid, and you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing at times, because you're not going to know what you're doing at times. But that's the whole point. And even if we look at from human design with passenger consciousness, the whole idea is like, you're not controlling the outcome. And it's an illusion anyway. Control is an illusion anyway. So we're really going to have this energy this week with Neptune and the energy with Pluto and the moon in Capricorn, which is like, well, are you actually feeling out of sorts because it's something new that's being surfaced? And you're like, shit, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that this was out of alignment, or I didn't realize that I kept getting sick because this piece, and now it's being unveiled to me, and now it's being revealed to me. Or are you out of sorts because, yeah, you've been shitting the bed and you haven't been doing the thing that you're meant to do. And that's causing your own suffering at the end of the day. And that's willfully causing your own suffering because you know what you're meant to be doing. You know the steps you're meant to be taking, and you're just not taking them. So when we're looking as well with the energy, as we come into Tuesday, so tomorrow, so we have the moon, and one of the biggest things that I'm seeing with the moon as we come into Tuesday is the energy with Hecate. We have a sextile to Hecate. Hecate is also triple goddess. You're often seeing her with the moon representations of the triple moon, the triple goddess, three faces of the feminine. This, when we're looking at the sextile, which is a good positive energy with the moon, with Hecate, this is compatibility and harmony energy, right? Like, it's like working together, whereas a square or opposition is not, doesn't feel good. So we're looking at more of an ease of communication between the moon and Hecate this week. Well, who's Hecate? She's the dark goddess. And so what we're looking at when we have the moon and Hecate working together this week is it's an opportunity. So her purpose this week is to stand you at the crossroads, at a life threshold. And maybe you've been ignoring it willfully, and you're just like, oh, yeah, I need more information. I need more this. I need more this before I take action. While, for example, I'll see someone that's complaining about money, and I'm like, well, launch something. And they're like, well, I need more information. No, launch something. If you have a business and you need more money, launch something. So what she's doing is she's putting you at this crossroads, whether because you've been willfully ignoring something, or it's just come up in the last couple of days as we're setting the stage for 2025. A lot is changing in 2025. A lot of the astrology that we're seeing today is carrying us over into mid-January. So she's putting you at that crossroad, or that threshold. And here's the thing with this energy of Hecate, it's like all seeing, all knowing. You can go up, Jules. You can go up, baby. Yeah. Do you want me to move that? Okay. Let's move that. Okay, you're all right. There you go, sweetheart. So it's like you're at this threshold, you're at this crossroads, but it's all seeing, all knowing. So, there's this scene in Yellowstone that reminds me of this, but you're being shown the path. You're being shown all seeing, all knowing this week as we look at, Oh, my watch is off. As we look at Hecate with the moon, well, what is the path? Where are you going? What is in alignment? What's not? She's going to show you all the paths that are possible. And this is starting tomorrow that they come together in terms of a sextile. And it's like, okay, well, stop fighting shit that you say you don't even want anyway, or start doing the thing that you say you actually want to do. And here's the thing I've said with clients over the years. Like, I've, again, worked in the counseling field, worked with astrology, self-development, human design, all of these things. I worked with thousands and thousands of people. I see what, you can get upset with me for saying this, but I see what makes people successful and I see what makes people unsuccessful. And I can pinpoint it in a minute, because the people that are successful are like, this is the thing and I'm going and doing it, or this is the nudge and I'm going and doing it, or this is the direction and I'm going and doing it and I'm going to figure it out on the way. And everyone can decide to be like that. It's just a decision. It's a rewriting your identity. And of course, it's like holding your feet to the fire of that. But I've seen for years, I mean, if we include counseling, like over 15 years, and personal training goals, holistic nutrition, I've done those fields as well. I can pinpoint in a second who's going to be successful and who's not. And it's because of the mindset. And it's because of that energy that we go into it. And that's what Hecate is going to show us this week, is like what needs to be done. And you're going to have that opportunity to stand at that threshold and say, this is the thing that needs to be done. These are the steps I need to take, or not. And that was the whole thing with human design as well, with Ra Rahu. Everything was or not. Because just because you have that opportunity, just because you have an activation in your human design body graph, just because you have wisdom or potential wisdom through openness, doesn't mean you're actually going to live it out. Right? And we can look at it from the perspective of gene keys. You have the potential to be living out the shadow, the gift, or the city. You have, and that's the free will aspect of this plane, which is really fucking cool, right? Like, that's the free will. You have this potential. Even in, if I do like an into the future reading for you in 2025, and we look at the next year and all the challenges and all the opportunities and what's going to happen for you based on astrology, it's a potential at the end of the day, because someone can present you with something, but if you're too much in fear, or you feel you need more information, or you feel this, or if you feel that, and you have identities around, being a fixed mindset and all these things, well, you're not going to take that opportunity even when it's presented to you. And that's just the reality of it. So when we look at Hecate with the moon this week, it's like, what needs to be done? And that starts tomorrow. So you might even be having, for myself, I was talking to a client this morning, and she had said, we were both talking about how we both didn't sleep well last night. And I said, it's probably like this discomfort of like, what is the piece that's still out of alignment in preparation for the moon with Hecate? Like, what's the piece that's still not there? What's the piece that still needs to be adjusted so that you can live a life that actually feels good and actually allows you to like move forward? If we look at positive psychology, achievement is a pillar of flourishing, right? And so we cause our own suffering by not actually taking steps forward. You don't need more information. Well, and that doesn't mean you never need more information, but it's like, are you actually going to take action on what you know to be true right now? Because, I see it, for example, with human design. It's like, well, I can't do this because then I need to know this before I can do this. And I need to know that before I can do that. Or I need to know how I sell through my openness before I can sell. It's like, no, you don't. That refines it, sure. That amplifies it, sure. That might make it more like hit in a different way, sure. But you can sell right now. Like, it makes no sense to me. Now, when we look at the moon, we're just following the moon a little bit this week, which isn't really something I overly do, but there's a lot of significant placements with the moon this week. We have the moon in not in Pluto, the moon with Pluto in Aquarius, January 1st, where they are 1 and 2 degrees Aquarius. Al, you can come in, sweetheart. Why is everyone acting so sketchy today? You guys feeling the astrology? It's just like the animals on the farm today are just like, I feel like everyone's feeling the astrology and they're all driving me nuts. So they're conjunct. We're looking at the moon, Pluto, January 1st. This is a big one for rekindling a passion for life. So again, Pluto's going to be that dark goddess and like ripping out everything that doesn't serve. We cause our own suffering. I'm a big believer in this. We cause our own suffering by saying, like, I don't like this. I don't like this career. I don't like this job. And it's slowly killing me. And it's like giving me autoimmune diseases because I'm constantly stressed out. But like, I can't do X, Y, and Z yet. So we cause our own suffering, we cause our own health decline. And then often what we see is like Pluto comes in and pulls it out, right? So you get fired from the job. Well, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to take action? I remember myself when I kept saying like 5 more years, 5 more years, 5 more years when I was in corporate. And then finally, I was just like, I literally couldn't go in anymore and quit, had no money, no savings. And I was like, well, I guess I just got to figure it out. Like, I've just got to show up and do the thing and start leading myself. And I went live every day on Instagram, every day on Facebook. I was creating content multiple times a day, every day, 7 days a week. And you tell it to people and, that are saying like, oh, I really want this. I really want that. Or I really need the money, or I really need this, or I really need that. And you're like, okay, go live every day. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Okay, post every day. Oh, no, I can't do that. Well, you say you want it, right? And that was where I was when I left corporate. It was like, I kept saying I wanted it. I kept saying I wanted to leave. And I finally at this point could not, like I physically could not go in anymore. I couldn't even force myself to go in. I'll never forget my poor husband woke up. He had worked midnights that night. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table, a little bit shocked, but also like oddly calm about it. It was very calm. That's how I always know when I'm on track, when I should be paranoid about something or I should be stressed about something. And I'm like oddly calm. So I was very oddly calm. And my husband wakes up, he goes, oh, are you homesick today? And I said, no, I quit my job. I had like $200. And I take my $200 because I'm a big believer that you will always default to your environment as well. So you have to upgrade the environment to who you want to be. So I took my $200. The only place open that day and at that moment was Walmart because I live in the middle of nowhere. I took my last, literally, like I'm not even shitting you. I didn't even get my bonus because I left in the middle of was it the end of the bonus period or something? But they owed me thousands of dollars. They didn't pay me out any of my bonuses. So I took my last $200 and I went to Walmart and got all this shit to like upgrade my environment. I got like this really cute wall calendar and I was like, bitches, I'm getting this done. Like I'm at a crossroads. Like I am not going back and I have to work for myself because I'm too ADHD to not, and I'm too bullheaded and opinionated to not. Like I am making this work. And of course I had built brands before in personal training, but anyway, that's another story. But I was just like, I'm making this work. And that's what we're seeing with Pluto and the moon on January 1st. Like rekindle that passion for life, man. Like you're not tired because you're a projector or a manifestor or reflector. You're tired because you've lost like the passion for life. You're not doing things you're enjoying anymore. And then you're justifying, like the amount of people I see justify like shit jobs that treat them like shit and like just wear them down, spit them out. Like I was in the counseling field. That happened all the time in the counseling field. They didn't give a shit. You were replaceable. And like justify it and just be like, well, it's called sunk cost fallacy, right? In psychology, sunk cost fallacy. So people say, oh, well, all those years that, I went to school for this and all those years building my career and working up the corporate ladder, like I can't just leave it. Look at all the money and the time and blood, sweat, and tears I put in this direction. Well, that's a fallacy. That's an incorrect way of looking at a situation, sunk cost fallacy. And so many people do this. And then they wonder why they don't have passion. Then they wonder why they're bored AF and then irritable and not happy in their life, which is a snowball. I really believe what you do and the work you do is such a big piece of your entire life. If you're not enjoying that, it negatively impacts everything. So the moon with Pluto on January 1st is like, I know I'm talking fast, guys. I have a call at 11, so I've got to get it all in. So I apologize. I'm talking super fast. Pluto with moon, January 1st, rekindle your passion for life. This is going to be a big thing about changing bad habits. What are your bad habits? You are always going to default to the level of your identity. Always. Like I combine psychology with astrology because you can't have one or the other or without the other. You can't just have, in my belief, work on the mind and mindset, and you can't just have the energy piece because, oh, great, the moon with Pluto this week and it's going to destroy things. And then people don't know about the actionable practical steps to take forward. Well, what we're looking at the moon and Pluto is like, no matter what, if we look at it from a psychology perspective, you are always going to default to the level of your identity 100% of the time, which means whatever your core software system for your identity is, you will always default to that. For example, January 1st is coming. People are going to start at the gym for a couple weeks, but their core identity is still, I hate the gym. I don't like working out. I don't have the time. Never works for me anyway. My genetics work against me, all this shit, right? That's their core operating system. So how long do they keep going to the gym? Maybe 2 weeks. I see this with people in business. They like try to will their way forward, right? When their core identity is, it never works for me. I need more information. I'm afraid of X, Y, and Z. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be successful. So that's their core operating system. And so they get this gust of energy. They force themselves. They're trying through sheer motivation, which never works. Motivation's a feeling. Feeling motivated never works long term. So they feel motivated. It's a new year. 2 weeks later, it's like, I suck. My course didn't sell. It's like, well, how many times did you show up to sell it? Well, once. Well, yeah, no shit, it didn't sell because you have a new Instagram account and you have no authority in the field and you're trying to sell it and you showed up once. Like, of course it didn't work. It's obvious, right? But then what happens is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and a self-sabotage pattern because you're not showing up because you're defaulting to the level of your identity. We will always default to the level of our identity. So then you don't show up for it because you believe you're not good enough. You believe you're going to fail anyway. You believe that X, Y, and Z. So you don't show up for it. You're not actually putting your full ass into your business. You're actually not showing up every day in your business. You're expecting big results with like giving the effort of the majority. And you want the results of the minority. You want the results of the 1% while doing the work that 99% do, which is like half-assing it. And that's why the 99% doesn't stand out. So what we're looking at with Pluto and the moon on January 1st is like, one, rekindle that fire. Like what's the story you've been saying? Do you really want to be like, I think of Emily D. Baker, right? Like she left her career as a lawyer and now she's a streamer on YouTube for pop culture law. She is so cool. Love Emily D. Baker. But if you have this story, right, and you've lost your passion for life because you really want to, say you're a lawyer, you really want to like do pop culture streaming, I don't know, legal pop culture streaming and law tube. And that's what you want to do. But you have this story of like, I'm wasting my potential. People will make fun of me. It's not good enough. My family will be embarrassed if I leave my profession to do that. And well, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with that so you can actually do the thing that lights you up, right? So what's the thing that you've been called into and you keep putting off because of these stories? Because I can't just stream. Oh my God, like that's not professional enough. Or, I have a degree in psychology and I can't do this or that because like people will make fun of me or I'm wasting my education. What are the stories? Pluto's going to expose them. If you are in a rut, it is time to break through. It's time to break through. You are not a victim to the outside world, so stop acting like it. Pluto and the moon on January 1st are going to come in and they're breaking patterns. It is like no bullshit energy. No bullshit. There can be overwhelm. There can be fear. But how are you moving with it? There's usually going to be fear. Fear is normal. You don't want to not have fear. Fear is very good. Stress is good. Pressure is good. Those three things are not negative. The problem is people base their decisions off of those three things and live there. They're always living in a state of fear. They're always living in a state of stress. They're always living in a state of pressure. That's where it becomes unhealthy. But if we look at from psychology, there's a bell curve of stress. Like it's good to have stress. There's actually research that was done. I can't remember the research off the top of my head, especially under pressure because I have like 3 minutes left. But on rats where they took out parts of the brain that would cause stress and they died. So stress is good. It's just not living there. So Pluto and the moon are really going to rip that apart for you this week. You need to take action. I was talking with a friend about this weekend and I said, all weekend I was up creating content. I worked all weekend between the farm and like creating content behind the scenes. A lot of the stuff you guys see when I put a reel out, it's like stuff I've recorded over the last couple months that is like planned and I like put it out, right? Like obviously not really the astrology stuff where I go live. Obviously it's not. Although now you can pretend it's live and it's not live, but I am live. It is Monday, although that doesn't really help. I need to have like a newspaper or something to prove this is live. But like reels and stuff, my carousels, that stuff's all planned, right? So what I want you to look at is what is the action you need to take? Is 2025 going to be another year of buying into your own bullshit, buying into your own excuses? Where like, you almost like, it's this energy of like, oh, damn, that's good. Damn, that's a good excuse. Even if you're not thinking it like that, like you're like, oh yeah, because it confirms your identity. It confirms your self-sabotage patterns. It confirms your view of the world, which feels very safe. Even if you're unhappy, it feels very safe because it's predictable, right? The world sucks. I'm not going to be successful. Oh, look, I tried once and I wasn't successful. Confirmed, I feel good. And that's actual psychology. So what I want you to look at is like, what is the shit you've been buying into where you're like, oh man, that's such a good excuse. Now I don't have to do it, right? Like, oh, I'm so busy and it's, I can't get up at 5 a.m. to work out. Like I have kids and I have a career. I'm like, oh, that's such a good excuse. Like, oh my God, I don't have the time for it. Start fighting for your dreams as hard as you fight for your drama and bullshit. And I promise you, if you do that, 2025 is going to blow your fucking mind. And I also want you to look at what is the cost of not doing action. So for example, we have like 1 minute left. For example, people will be like, oh, I can't invest in this thing. I don't care. If you don't want to invest with me, invest with someone else. The point is though, people like, I can't invest in like one-on-one coaching. So my clients I work with in business are making like 6-figure launches. I've worked with them for years. It wasn't overnight, right? It's years of planning, years of testing, years of building, and then retesting and replanning. But what a lot of people do is they're not investing in the right things because they're like, that costs too much. I want you to start shifting it. And this isn't some like sales psychology thing of now you have to go buy from me. Don't buy from me if you don't like working with me. And if we're not a good fit, please don't. If you don't like no bullshit and being called out on things, I will not be a good match for you. And I want you to start looking at and flipping it. What is the cost of not taking action? What is the cost of not launching the thing? What is the cost if you know that it's like working with a mentor, your next step, and that's going to be the breakthrough? Every day you don't take action, what is the cost of that? What is the cost? Because if you could be making, say, $10,000 a month and you've been shitting the bed for 6 months, that's $60,000. So when we start to flip the script and we look at what is the cost of not taking action, what is the cost of allowing my bad habits, moon with Pluto, this week, conjunct Pluto, what's the cost of my bad habits driving my life, my identities that don't serve me anymore, and I'm very aware they don't serve me. What's the cost of those continuing to drive my life? I'm promising you 2025 is going to look a lot different for you. Flip the script. One thing I also want to quickly touch on, because now I'm over time and I really got to go. I'll do a separate video on this actually, so we can go deeper. But January 3rd, it's farm life. Sometimes shit hits the fan and I can't get on when I want to get on. Venus in Pisces, January 3rd. Yeah, there we go. Venus in Pisces, January 3rd. Why is this significant? Over the next few months, you are likely going to get everything you want. Whether that's good or bad is up to you. And what I mean by that is if you have that core operating system that is holding you back and those bad habits that you haven't allowed the moon and Pluto to destroy, you're going to get everything you want. It's not going to work out. It's not. So that, and I don't mean consciously what you want. You say you want the thing. I mean your core operating system. I mean the voice and the stories you are saying on repeat day after day after day. You're going to get what that wants. So it's really important right now. We'll do more on Venus and Pisces this week. It's really important. You are going to get what you want, but is it what you actually want? I want you guys to look at Venus as we go into January, especially up until about the 14th, of Goddess Inanna energy. And I have another reel or a video on that, but more of the Goddess Inanna, dark goddess energy, going into the underworld and addressing what do I really want? All right, guys, I really got to go. I'm late for a client call. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed, please tag, please share, take a screenshot, tag me on Instagram, Ashley, Briana, Eve. And if you want to book a session, link is in the notes. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.